We here,
Hey,
man.
Superman is bad. I think I'm gonna quit the YouTube channel. I'm just gonna.
Cap. Cap. We know that's Cap. And that's me being initially a Superman hater. That's Cap. But I like how you open it up there. Let's see what you got to say.
At all. I'm literally gonna retire. It's over for me.
How you doing?
We'll see.
We doing good, bro.
I hope you're doing well. I have been waiting for a Superman movie for what feels like my whole damn life. And no, I'm not talking about any kind of deconstruction or reconstruction or ab-fuck-construction. I'm talking about a film that showcased, that honored the character that has been a defining part of so many of our lives. We all have that first Superman memory, right? Or a vague idea of one. For me, it was my dad reading me Kurt Swan's Superman. It was dressing up as him for some crack-ass school project. It was watching Smallville on my grandma's TV since we couldn't afford cable at home. It was rewinding the Justice League bootlegs my old man had recorded on VHS to the point that the tape player sounded like it was going to explode.
I'll probably say the only childhood memory or first memory I had of Superman was the Superman Returns video game, you know, after the movie and everything. I remember my friend had it. It was a fire game back then. It's mostly video games for me. My first initial experience of Superman, knowing who Superman is, yeah, like Injustice and all that. But that's about it. But look how times have changed, man. Times have changed.
We all have that moment, that memory. We all have that idea of Superman in our head, that idea of the ultimate immigrant sent in a lifeboat across the stars. Depending on who you ask, he may don a different face, he may wear a different costume, but he was, at his core, to so many of us, a friend. But let's be honest, man, for the last however many fucking years, that friend has been turned into a foe. Parodies, commentaries, mind control, and parallel universes. The imagery of Superman in 95% of media was that of a statuesque martyr, a once good ideal turned bad, a rageful god who is sick of our hatred.
I don't know, man. I mean, I do agree with him. It's just crazy how all this time, I guess, us not being satisfied with what we got as far as just a depiction of a newer depiction of Superman. You know, all the other portrayals of him, it felt like something was missing, or you know, it was not enough. Maybe we was you know, being a little spoiled with some things. But I do see what he's saying though. Like with Homelander and like Omni-Man, like all these different, you know, versions, I guess you want to say, that the Superman image, and not having, you know, a real good Superman other than like the animated series and everything. And of course, Man of Steel, you know, I still think is, you know, a great portrayal of Superman. But, you know, the Snyderverse didn't make it, man.
Now that's a punchline.
When did he do that?
Watch James Gunn's Superman twice.
So, John, how you feeling about Superman?
I did too.
God damn.
I did too.
The Superman premiere? Must be.
In 2 days.
You're a fucking moron.
I haven't done that since the Batman. I watched it twice in 2 days and have a nightmare vision skull's worth of thoughts in my head. And as you may know, I had my fears going in, but one thing I knew for certain, or at least hoped with every single fiber of my being, is that James Gunn's Superman would reinvigorate the general audience's love of Superman and redefine who Clark Kent has always been to me. I wanted Superman to show people the beauty of the character, show the world that he does not, never has, and never will need changing. I wanted to see that friend again. And listen, even if I have my gripes, which we can talk about and argue about together, you can yell at me in the comments, I think James fully delivered when it comes to that friend's character, when it comes to Superman's soul. As the credits rolled the first time, I ain't gonna lie, I was unsure how to feel. I mean, I had a single tear trickling down my face hiding the waterfall that was about to burst, because that ending, man, that ending is something next level. Fuck me. I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. Fuck.
Bro, that ending, bro. Goosebumps, bro, like for real. And that's, again, me saying this as a Superman hater, bro. Like, James Gunn really put his foot into that ending, bro. The whole movie fire. And we gonna get into that, of course, with this reaction and everything. But that ending though, that ending was different, bro. That ending.
But overall, I really could not put my thoughts together, man. I think I was not expecting the movie to move as fast as it did with so little breathing room. Maybe it's the fact that I knew that the movie was originally structured, originally sectioned into days of the week like this. So those few random cuts to black in the movie instead feel like the end of one day going into another. I don't know why they cut those days of the week. I think that kind of helps the ultra super fast sonic pace the movie is moving at, but I'll shut the fuck up.
Gee, I think perhaps somebody ought to teach you some manners.
They probably didn't want to do that simply because, like, for me, I'm watching the movie in the point of view of Superman, right? And it's like, as Superman, as the hero he's trying to be in the movie, everything's a blur, bro. Even to him, even him being so fast, you know, such a powerful just person overall, everything is a blur. You either Clark Kent, you know, doing your thing as a reporter, you know, or you're Superman. Either way, both jobs are fast paced and you're just trying to be the best you can be. So, like, the days don't really matter. You're Superman, you know, everything is a blur, especially how fast he's going. So, I can see why they probably didn't want to put that in the final product of the movie.
Some manners, sir. Terribly sorry about all the damage, sir.
For better or worse, scratch that. For better and worse, I think Superman really is the most comic book movie ever made. Not the best and by far not the worst, but for sure the most. And there's two sides of this, right?
The most comic book movie ever. Maybe it's recency bias, but I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. I mean, if we're not talking about animation, I think there's a lot of animated movies that could probably, you know, take that crown as well.
That's right. One that feels so palpably in love with the source material. One that drops you right into the story, the world, as if you picked up an issue off the rack.
Yeah,
you don't need backstory because this isn't a new take on Superman. This is Superman. You don't really need to know the origins of Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, and the Justice Gang because just like in a comic book, this is not their story. When Batman shows up in a random issue of Superman, they don't flash back to the damn alley. You don't get the pearls, you don't get the gunshot. You don't need any of that because this is still Superman's comic. Superman is not structured like a standard narrative film. It doesn't really have an act one. It's structured like an issue of a comic book that has faith that you will be able to figure out the context.
Are you kidding?
Very
Hey, I was with you all the time.
And I'm in love with that idea. I could gun to that idea, but at the same time, it takes a moment to figure out the context.
Are you kidding? Hey, I was with you all the time.
And I'm in love with that idea. I could gun to that idea.
What scene in Superman? What deleted scene in Superman? Director's cut had you like this, bro? What? Okay.
But at the same time, it takes a moment, took me a moment to adjust to that rhythm, to connect with the world and the characters.
You're a fucking moron.
This is where the worst part of better and worse comes in. I do think it moves too fast. I do think it's a bit messy. There's a lot of Raimi Spider-Man 1 comparisons I see flying around, but I'd say it's far closer to Raimi 3. And I really like Raimi 3. I kind of love it, so.
That's a good comparison right there. I think out of all the Raimi films with Spider-Man, the fastest was definitely the third one because it made sense. I mean, you already knew his story, you already knew all the characters. It was the third installment, so it definitely was pretty fast paced, especially with everybody wanting him to just get the Venom, get the black suit super fast. This pause is crazy, but yeah, very fast paced movie. But I like it though. I like it because, like you said, it puts you right into the world and it makes you feel like, you know, you just know of it already. And the moments that needed time to adjust and you know, for you to enjoy and experience, I think they did a good job on, slowing it down. So you just can really experience it. But yeah, enough yapping.
A beautiful mess where the parts that emotionally slow down, the moments where Lois and Clark can just gaze into each other's eyes, or have an insanely passionate kiss that goes on uncomfortably long, as if we shouldn't be allowed to intrude on their romance. Those moments are perfect, dude. Making Superman a love story, not just between him and her, but between him and humanity, is what I've been begging for, like a Lex Luthor who just ran out of 1As. There are those messy parts, the parts that don't get nearly enough room to breathe, where within seemingly 15 minutes of screen time, Clark's entire worldview of himself is shattered and thrown into question. Then almost immediately he has to witness the temporary death of Robot 4, my King Gary, meet Lex Luthor for the first time, get tortured in a pocket dimension with keyboard warrior apes, meet Metamorpho, watch a Kai Man get capped, realize Lex is behind the genocide of innocent Palestine. Sorry, Jarnporians. Then proceed to rescue baby Joey and Crypto while Mr. Terrific and Lois have a Guardians of the Galaxy dope musically charged action sequence. It's just a lot. It's a lot and happens very, very fast. 34B.
It is. It definitely is, and it's very, very fast. But like I said before, I think it's because you're looking at it at the point of view of a year 3 Superman. So he's still, still starting out in a lot of ways, which is crazy. So everything is a blur. You gotta get to just the next point because you're Superman. There's no time to wait. There's no time to, sit around. You're Superman, so you gotta, just be that and fly into action whenever. So I think that's the best way to watch the movie. If there's any person, any hero that can take on so much and still get the job done, it's Superman. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Seeing it a second time, knowing the pace, knowing that's how it was structured, how it moved, I was able to collect my thoughts a whole lot easier. I was able to fall into the pace a bit more and understand why the gun ain't slowing down, why he's firing off the entire clip at flash-like speeds.
We'll shoot some motherfucking guns.
I don't think it's like filmmaking insecurity. I don't think that. I think it's just a course correction. Because think about it, man. Ever since Superman Returns, if you're not watching the shows, if you're not reading the comic books, the main idea of Superman to the general public is someone who's always going through an existential crisis.
You wrote that the world doesn't need a savior, but every day I hear people crying for one.
No one stays good in this world.
Someone who doesn't speak that much. Someone who has an existential crisis.
You wrote that the world doesn't need a savior, but every day I hear people crying for one.
No one stays good in this world.
Why is bro looking like this? It's been a minute since I watched Man of Steel, so this is just, I don't know. I guess the emphasis on this is what caught me off guard, but okay. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Someone who doesn't speak that much. Someone who has the weight of the world on his shoulders. You have one 2.5-hour movie that feels like it's 5 hours long.
Before you leave tonight.
You got Man of Steel. And you got 2 director's cuts where Superman is just plain miserable for 92% of the combined 9 hours.
Hell no, man. What the fuck?
Gun.
Yeah, bro. That's one thing I didn't like about the Snyderverse. Is like they were trying to just rush into you, I guess, knowing all the characters so much they forgot about the character that they initially developed. Man of Steel was the first of the whole universe. He was supposed to lead it, but they just forgot about him, and that's one of the reasons why. Nah, man. I'm sorry, Henry Cavill, but nah.
A good movie. If you ask me, and I've literally seen all of them, he hasn't made a stinker.
I'm Jimmy Gunn.
This is his messiest movie because, in a sense, and he said this himself, everything is riding on this. Not just in terms of the box office, not just in terms of setting up the future of the DC universe, but most importantly, most stressfully, the hardest job he had was and is to showcase Superman in a way that undoes the damage of nearly 2 decades worth of postmodern takes. I don't care if you like the Snyder films. I don't care if you...
And bro, that type of pressure, man, can only make diamonds for real, because he did his thing. James Gunn did the impossible, bro.
Love Superman Returns and the Injustice games. I love some of those too, but the average person you pull off the street will probably tell you they don't give a fuck about Superman.
Gee, I think perhaps somebody ought to teach you some manners, sir.
That is...
Now, I was like that. Oh, I am cap. I'd rather be, in Gotham. Let's talk about Batman, the real GOAT, But my mind has changed.
Suck except for the old one in that he's boring. I think James is under the most stress he's ever been behind the camera, and I think you can feel that. You can feel this movie is fighting tooth and nail to never once be boring. It's one gigantic ass beating, which I love after another. It's Gunn lit.
Now that we've really accepted this movie as great as it is, and know, that we just want more, I think the next movie, the sequel, for sure it has to be a sequel. I think now James Gunn is going to be able to slow down more, give you a little bit more of like every scene, every moment, and let it ride out a little bit more. Because now we're invested. It's going to be definitely a smoother pace to the next movies for sure.
Screaming at you saying, look, Superman is vulnerable. Look, Superman is not some god. Look, he's anything but boring. And yeah, man, that's kind of a necessity at this point, even if I personally wanted more small moments. The moments that stood out to me above all else are the moments where Clark is sitting, not in action, when he talks to Lois about the goofy band he thought and still fully believes is undeniably cool. Or when he's at the Daily Planet and tells Steve to shut up because he's talking shit on Ma and Pa, whom he clearly calls every time he gets an article published. These moments, they are so sweet, they are so Superman, they fill my cold, dead, barely beating heart with joy and compassion. And if my only real complaint about the movie is that I need more of these characters, more of these actors beautifully portraying these icons in a way that I've dreamt about for so long, how much of a bad thing is that really? The things that I was worried about, the look of the film, the Justice Gang, all of that works way better than my dumbass would think. Having and not just the trailers, I can see exactly what James Gunn and Henry Bram were going for when it comes to the cinematography. It really is just non-stop camera, nearly always in motion, spinning, twirling, and flying alongside these guys. The action, it hits, even...
Because that's how Superman moves. He's just flying around, you just got to catch up with him. So I like how they did that.
There's just so much being spewed at you in any given frame, any given second.
Some banging action.
But any superhero movie that dedicates its action almost to an absurd degree to really making the ultra-powered hero feel vulnerable, that shows him getting beat down again and again only to stand back up, barely holding on for the sake of his selfless heroism, is a fucking winner in my book. Saving our...
And bro, let me go back to this real quick. This is the one part that James Gunn made sure to do for Superman, and that's to ore farm. But look right here, see that? You see the ore, bro? You see the ore. That's one part I'm so glad James Gunn did not forget to put in the movie. Like, Superman, as much as he can be vulnerable or too OP or whatever you want to say, boring, whatever, he still has the aura, bro. Why do you think Batman is such a legend? He will always be a legend. 90% of what he does is aura. And same thing with Superman, bro. So, and I know for sure in this reaction, he's going to show more. And I'm pointing out just how much aura, bro, just unpacks in this movie. But yeah. Too far.
Saving our lives, standing tall, and being there after he has to pop his shoulder back into place after he's been suffocated by Nan.
Even him getting beat down.
His heroism is a fucking winner in my book. Saving our lives, standing tall, and being there after he has to pop his shoulder.
Right there. Like, even right there. To me, that's aura. Because, you know, at the end of this, he gets back up.
Back into place after he's been suffocated by nanites, poisoned by kryptonite.
Bro.
His pain is in service to our lives.
Right there. Perfect. Right there. Bro, if y'all was in the theaters seeing this, you would know, because the music, the background music was just hitting. He just saved the lady, you know, from the building and everything, and he just rises into the sunlight, out of the smoke, the debris, and look at him, bro. That's aura, bro. That's what he been missing. Is the moments that he could just aura for him, bro. You ain't gotta say nothing. You barely even see him for real, but he's there. You see it, and the aura is just there, bro. Like, beautiful.
And that's never ever felt clearer in a Superman movie, and seldomly in a superhero movie. And yeah, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I still wish certain framing choices went a little bit closer, went a little bit more intimate, and still wish the colors were a tad bit warmer, but what the fuck do I know?
Ow! 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 I'm Jimmy Gunn.
The Justice Gang, somehow, is in the movie the perfect amount for me. Most of the team brings it, man.
So you know he's Clark Kent.
Somehow Nathan Fillion and Gunn made Guy Gardner somewhat likable to me, which, having just reread League International, is seemingly an impossible task. And this has been said way too many damn times already, but I'ma hop on the bandwagon and say that Eddie Gathegi is a generational scene stealer as goddamn Mr. Terrific.
Bro. Now, of course, the movie says Superman, as it should, but the MVP, at least one of them, the MVP was Mr. Terrific. I don't know the dude from anywhere, but now I do.
When superhero movies don't assume you will like someone because they have a spin-off plan, but instead actually cast a great actor with a wonderful screen presence that makes you want to see them again. Amazing.
Yes, and bro, if Peacemaker can get, you know, his show, and this is great as it is, Mr. Terrific needs the same. Mr. Terrific needs his own show, his own series, something, because, bro, we gotta see him again. We got to.
Notice that I think that Hawk Girl is a bit undercooked in the writing department, even though she has the biggest fuck yeah moment in the movie. I just wanted to see more of her. And I love
at the shorter end of the whole movie, as far as scenes and everything, but I don't think it's gonna be the last we see. I think Hawk Girl is the perfect character you can put in any project, and she can make a good impact and just be there to support any story. So I know there's gonna be more that we see from her. And isn't she on Peacemaker? Right? Y'all let me know.
like I thought G-Spot Gunn would do with them. The gang serves as a statement on the US militarization of superheroes. Sanctioned, funded, and dumb leather outfits that not only answer to bullshit Lantern Corps codes, but also to billionaire bureaucrats and politicians. And it's incredible that their arc is to learn from Clark, learn through his actions. If any form of life is in danger, whether that's as fantastically Silver Age as a confused baby kaiju, or gutturally raw and timely as a Middle Eastern child about to be shot down with a weapon paid for by the United States. It's your duty as a hero, a person, to intervene, to try, despite any and all geopolitical repercussions. It's your responsibility to protect all life, no matter how big, no matter how small. Is this a groundbreaking take? No, not really. But is it wild that James Gunn got to put this into his Superman movie in this current era we're living in? Fuck yeah, it is, man. And compared to the borderline corrupt and US military funded majority of the MCU, it's revolutionary.
Digested us, and now we're stuck in its asshole waiting to be dumped out. And while we're here, they packaged a fight in the product, turned our dissent to intellectual property.
There's been a lot of talk on the interwebs about the House of L plot twist. And yeah, as an immigrant allegory, I understand the upset. What does it say that America's ultimate refugee was sent here to conquer and mass produce? I get it, and I'm empathetic towards that, honestly, I am.
So, okay, so they did change that. That's not the initial story in the comics. Okay, I always wanted that.
Personally, though, I don't think that was Gunn's intent whatsoever, even if it incidentally plays like that to some. I think it's almost critical that this Superman, a very classic Superman that has to speak for a new era, has to define himself. We've seen him be told that he is a savior again and again. We've had brilliant actors tell him that his purpose since birth is to protect us.
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
They can be a great people, Kal-El. They wish to be. They only lack the light to show the way.
They will join you in the sundown.
For this reason, above all, their capacity for good, I have sent them you, my only son.
You can save all of them.
I love the idea that his view of himself has to be redefined in this movie. I love the notion that even when it turns out that there is no pure-hearted biblical purpose for his existence, he still makes the active choice to dress up in a goofy outfit and save any and all life he can. But dude, on a really serious note, I know it's a cliche at this point, but holy fuck, Nugget, slap me across the face, fuck me sideways, and call me Jimmy Olsen. The core trio of actors, David, Rachel, and Nick, feel genetically engineered in the gun range to play these characters.
Thank you.
Of course, the very faithful writing helps add to that feeling, but to me, each of their performances feel all too human, even within the—
No cap, like they the big three for sure, especially for the DCU. I feel like Lois Lane could even get her own, little show, nice series to where like it can kind of introduce the street level type of stories. As her being a reporter, we might get some crazy cameos within that of other heroes or other villains. That would be cool too. But yeah, the big three, I can see it. Lois, Superman, and of course Lex Luthor. He might be locked up right now, my boy. Free my boy.
There's this palpable humanity behind all of their eyes that has been lacking in so many adaptations.
Dude.
And it's not just the overtly Superman moments of him saving a squirrel or telling a woman who was nearly crushed to death by a giant monster to take slow, deep breaths, or screaming in such tangible agony as a kind man who most would not look at twice is murdered right in front of him. All that is so wonderful, so Superman, but I think the true power of David's performance resides in the tiniest of bits. It's him telling Lois that even though Krypto is not a very good dog, he's somewhere out there scared and alone, somewhere out there, and he needs Clark to save him.
And that was the other MVP. Krypto, bro. Best dog in film history.
It's the way that at the end of the movie, once Lex is defeated, exposed, you can see a bit of empathy from Clark as he stares into the tearful eyes of someone who cannot accept failure. This one look, it's brief and I wish I could show it, only a split second, but it's almost like he can't help but feel compassion towards someone who has dedicated his entire existence into killing him. It's beautiful. It's the way Rachel is seemingly always on the move, unable to sit entirely still unless she's doing what she loves, interviewing, getting to the truth. It's the way she is observing Clark's behavior, not just as a lover, but as an investigative journalist.
That's almost certainly the case, but do I know that?
We finally have a big screen Lois Lane who has her agency back, a purpose outside of awing over Superman.
It's me! Lois Lane! Well, so long goodbye.
And dude, my fucking boy, the god tier hater, the best big screen Lex, one of my new favorites.
Kendrick say he was a biggest hater, bro. This man took hate to a whole different, literally different dimension. He made a pocket dimension just to hate. He opened a pocket dimension just to hate. Insane, bro. But still to go.
Superhero movie villains. Nick Holt's Lex is next fucking level, dude. 1A.
12C, 18A, 34B, 98Z, 8H, 4014.
I'll kill them too.
But my favorite thing about—
I already know, bro. Once my boy get out, that Lex Luthor Transformer suits, whatever he got, the Halo suit, because I don't know much about it, but when he gets that suit, bro, that 1A gonna hit different, bro. It's gonna hit different.
performance is this unspoken underlying vulnerability to Lex. This sadness and this pain that I hope gets explored in later entries. Something clearly happened to this Lex. Something clearly made him so full of hatred. Something made him feel so worthless that he had to shape himself into somebody worthy. I love this tiny detail towards the end of the film where he seemingly is worried for the engineer's safety, even calling her Angela for what I think is the first time in the movie, when she's about to crash land going 400 fucking miles per hour glued to Clark. I love that because they never really show the nature of Lex's concern. Is it ownership or empathy? He created the engineer, he mutilated her to be this force. Is that concern purely of ownership, property, or somewhere beneath his rage, his envy, his painful pride, does he feel genuine compassion? Just super interesting stuff, man, that ain't on the page but purely shown through Holt's performance, louder than any monologue he could give. Everyone is their comic counterpart brought to life in ways that I've dreamt of my whole life. This isn't a take on Superman, this feels like my Superman. From the small details of him drinking a glass of milk during his big interview scene with Lois, to her making him a full cup of cocoa as if that's the one drink that provides him relaxation, to the fact that he eats cereal as he watches Krypto mess with Ma and Pa's cows. It feels so utterly correct, and I wish we got more of that. I love Superman, always have, always will, so of course I want to see him be on the Kent farm for 20 minutes instead of 2. But the audience needs this fast-paced, I think. The casual moviegoer, the average modern-day audience needs to see that Superman ain't boring, that Superman is a badass not because he could fry you like a piece of Pa's bacon.
Consider this mercy.
But because he remains steadfast in his morals. This movie very vocally reasserts the idea that being kind, being honest, being true, and fighting for what you believe in is the very definition of punk rock.
I'm a punk rocker, yes I am, fuck.
Is the very point of Superman. He's a champion of the oppressed. My only hope is that whatever sequel they have planned has now earned our trust to slow the hell down and let moments breathe.
Yeah, like I said, I think now James Gunn could slow it down, man. You know, he got our trust for sure. He got our attention. We invested into this Superman and his story, his world, and we just want to see more. So like, we don't need the fast pace. We here for it, and we want to be able to just enjoy every moment that we have with this new Superman.
Social media monkey feeds, the general public is so in love with this movie in ways I haven't seen from Cape Media in a long time. Gunn has the trust, he has the full clip ready to go, locked and loaded, and I would personally love if he made the ballsiest choice and made a sequel that did not feel the need to up the action, but to up the calmness and romance and sincerity that this film showcases in between the super spins, in between the Krypto chomps and the Lantern middle fingers. If he allows us to sit within these moments, sit alongside these brilliantly casted, adapted characters. But at the end of the day, if the film made me want more, made me so desperately excited to see these characters in any facet, anxiously awaiting getting another glimpse into their blue eyes. And I haven't felt that way, felt this childlike wonder and excitement since the Batman so perfectly encapsulated everything I love about DC.
Is there one filmmaker, if you could lure anybody into the DCU, who would you grab?
Matt Reeves.
As this
James Gunn, listen here. I know you tiptoeing around a whole situation about who should be the Batman for the DCU, this, that, and the third, bro. You already know what you want. You're James Gunn, the guy who doesn't miss on any decision he makes. You're him right now, and it's not that you have to keep proving that. You already have, and you don't have to work as hard as you think you do, bro. He just gave us a great Superman that, of course, we want to see more of in the future, and there's no doubt he's going to just be greater. But on top of that, Matt Reeves just gave you the best concept of a Batman we want too. You don't have to give us another Bruce Wayne, another Batman, just because, you know, the politics of it being a different universe and all that. Bro, pretty sure Matt Reeves would love to share the wealth. I know he would. Because y'all both are geniuses, bro. Make it easier for yourself. You know what you gotta do, James. And I already know you're gonna do it. I already know. I'll be surprised if you don't. Come on now.
The final shot brought tears to my eyes. Genuinely, man, the road might have been rockier than expected, but that final moment more than makes up for it. The camera spinning around the Kent's home movies while Clark lays in his ice fortress surrounded by Superman robots. This mix of pure naturalism and pure Silver Age camp. Little Clark is lifted into the air pretending to fly long before he took to the sky as we slowly push in towards his adult face looking right at us. As the sun gets brighter and brighter, his smile wider, looking right at us, right into our eyes, just as he is his human family, with such kindness and so much selfless, uncompromised love.
Aura, bro. Aura. Just straight aura, just like that. It's punk rock, bro. Punk rock. But yeah, I love y'all. Thank you for letting me do part 2. I know it was a wait. You know, it was a whole month, and now we gotta talk about Fantastic Four.